And so welcome everybody to the 54th Friday morning warm-up. And we've got clapping and some chromatic warm-ups, and as well as the diminished scale later on, the whole half diminished scale. Good, right, let's get the clapping up on the screen, the rhythm we're going to do today. And it's one you might have seen before on this session. And let me just make sure that's the right size. There we go. It's just what's called a cowbell pattern, the sort of thing you might hit on a cowbell. Preferably not one hanging around the neck of a large cow. And underneath I've put the feet movements. It's a bit simpler than we have been doing, so you might want to have another go at getting your feet going left, right, to coincide with the beats, because you're clapping on all the beats as well as one or two of the off beats. So relatively straightforward one. Let's get the metronome going. So I'm going to put that at about 110, fairly brisk walking pace. And after 4, we're going to clap that pattern just for a minute. So here we go. After 4, 1, hang on. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. Okay, nice straightforward one there to get us warmed up today. So let's move on to the instruments now. So if you'd like to get your instrument ready, and the scale today is based on the note F. It's an F whole half diminished scale. So I'm going to be playing the note F, concert F. And if you'd like to, just for a minute, just blow some long notes, trills, tremolos, twiddles, to get your fingers moving and warmed up. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's blown a bit of air into your instrument, giving it a few twangs. And now we're going to do the chromatic exercise now. And this time it's going to start on the concert F, so whichever note is relevant for your instrument, down a semitone, and then back to the first note, so, and then moving up a semitone, and there we go. Just keep going up until we finally get to the octave concert F. So more feelings of impending doom. Here we go. Let's just get the metronome going at a little slower pace. After 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next one. Last one. Okay, let's do that again. So after 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. And let's do that one more time for the final time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. And just to finish off, we're going to do 3 runs up and down the chromatic scale, starting a little bit quicker. So we're going to go from the lower root note, concert F, up to the octave and back down again at this speed. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And down. That was 100. Let's go up to 120. No, let's go 125. So much different. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And one more, a little bit quicker, 150 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go, the chromatic scale. What a lovely scale. Okay, let's move on now to the exercise sheet that we're going to look at. And today's scale is the whole halved diminished scale. And the reason for calling it whole half is because the intervals, starting on whatever root note you choose, go up in a whole step, followed by a half step, followed by a whole step, followed by a half step, followed by a whole step, followed by a half step. And consequently, there are 8 notes in it. So it's what's called an octatonic scale. All the usual scales we play, the major scales and minor scales, are heptatonic because they've got 7 notes in them. And of course, the pentatonics have got 5. But this has got 8 distinct notes in it. It's often called a symmetrical scale as well, simply because it's got this very regular pattern. It's artificial, whereas the major scale comes out of nature. You can actually hear it in vibrations and so on. You can pick out the individual notes of a major scale in a natural vibration, for example. You certainly can't do that with this one. So it's a man-made scale, and it's, as I say, it goes up in these regular intervals. You can name the whole tone, I keep calling it whole tone, the whole half diminished scale, after any of the notes in it which are followed by a whole tone. So although I've called the scale on the sheet in front of you F or G or D, depending which key you're in, you can also call it A flat, concert A flat, because there is a whole tone following the A flat, and so on. There is also the other way around, a half whole diminished scale, and that follows actually the same pattern, half step, whole step, but half step, whole step, half step, whole step, starting on your chosen note. In fact, it's exactly the same as this if you just start a half step below. Now, I don't want to get into too much intrigue here, but if, for example, this scale that's in front of you, you simply started on the E rather than the F, you would have the E half whole diminished scale, and it will be the same notes, simply starting on the E. But what that also means is there are no other possibilities. So apart from if you shift the whole thing up a semitone and then another semitone. So if you were to learn it, you're actually not going to learn an awful lot of different fingerings and patterns, because of the symmetry of it, it soon starts to repeat itself. Just one more little bit of information. Those of you that use scales to improvise over chords, the whole half diminished scale can be used to improvise over a diminished chord, diminished seventh chord. And it can also be used to improvise over any dominant seventh chord which is a semitone below. So for example, the F whole half diminished can be used to improvise over E, semitone below, 7, E7. Because it contains all the notes of E7, simple as that. So, right, that's probably enough. You can look up the rest and go and investigate it more and play around with it, especially if you've got a piano and a means of playing a chord and a scale. So let's just look at the first bar. And I am going to put the metronome down considerably slower, because I know it's for my benefit as well as yours. Okay, and we're just going to do that first bar nice and slowly. And yeah, it's a good question, Chris. Is it being man-made why there are no flats or sharps? Actually, that's not quite true. It's because it's not centered on any particular key. They don't follow keys. They're not in a key. All other scales, every scale we've done up till now, apart from the whole tone scale, every scale is allied to a specific key. If it's a mode, it's derived from such and such a key. If it's the major scale, it's clearly from that key. But this scale is not derived out of a key. So I suppose, yes, because it's man-made, it hasn't been chosen. There are man-made ones which are based on keys, but this one's not based on a particular key, so I couldn't give it a key signature. But it's a good observation. You won't see any sharps and flats at the beginning, not in this exercise. You will when you see it's in a piece of music, but not because it will depend on the key of that piece of music. But right, let's do. Yeah, if you want to put any questions in the chat, I'll do my best to dig up some answer from my brain. Let's do that first bar. So it'll be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Oops. Yeah, I might even slow it down a little bit more. Right, we'll do that. Just that first bar after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I didn't say, yes, another little point here. Because it's an 8-note scale and I've got 8 quavers there, you need to add on, after the scale is finished, the tonic again, the root note. So it doesn't quite reach the last note. So just stick the F, D or G onto the end just to round it off. I think you know what I mean by that. Here we go. So just stick an F on the end after we've finished those 8 notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and there you go. Let's do that again and again. Do it often enough, it'll start to sound familiar. And again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and last time, doing a few more this time just for the unfamiliarity of it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, let's do the second bar. So we're descending. So start on the second bar. You'll need to add the root note on the end once you've finished the second bar. So here we go. Second bar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and do that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and do that one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay, I hope that's going well for you so far. Let's just play the whole first two bars just exactly as written, and at the end of the 2 bars just stick on the final root note as well. So first 2 bars, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. See if you can sing it as well, if you haven't got something in your mouth. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'll do that one more time before we move on. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, the whole half diminished scale. Let's move on to the arpeggio now. This is the chord most closely associated with that scale, although others are related. This is the diminished 7th chord, the arpeggio for it. So this has got a root note, of course, a flattened 3rd, a minor 3rd, a flattened 5th, and a diminished 7th. A diminished 7th is 1 lower than a minor 7th, which is 1 lower than a major 7th. So you have a major 7th, which is a semitone below the root note. You have a minor 7th, or a dominant 7th, which is a tone below the root note. And you have a diminished 7th, which is 3 semitones down from the root note. And what you'll notice is that all these notes are a minor 3rd apart. And that is the symmetry of the diminished arpeggio, and what leads to the symmetry of the diminished scale. So let's play those 2 bars, bars 3 and 4, the arpeggio of the F, concert F, diminished 7th arpeggio. And I'm going to keep the metronome, no, a little bit faster because we're ending crotchets, so it's a bit easier, I think. I'd like to think anyway. Here we go. So the last 2 bars of that line. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we have it, and that is the arpeggio. For those that weren't here at the time when I demonstrated, the arpeggio of this chord, which on its own sounds a little bit unpleasant, but in context, you'd have heard it in a lot of music. Even good old George Formby plays this chord quite a lot on the ukulele. Anyway, that's the diminished 7th chord. Right, I'm doing a lot of talking today, and time is rattling on, so we better move on to the next line. So the little exercise here, well, we're going to be doing this a little bit slower as well. Perhaps we'll only do these twice, the next 2 lines, because I can see the clock moving on. So let's do that whole of the second line. Yeah, let's just go for it, and hopefully see you all at the end after 4. After 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, all right, let's move on to the third line then. And you're thinking, just as I was about to get that right. Here we go. So we're coming down the scale this time, so starting on the higher root note. After 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the whole half diminished scale. Using that particular cell pattern. Okay, and then we come on to the rhythms based on diminished triad. So clearly a diminished triad is going to come out of this particular scale, and so a diminished triad in F would be the root note F, a minor third, so the next note would be A flat, and then the next note after that would be a flattened fifth. So the normal fifth of an F, of course, is C, so it will be C flat. And I seem to have shown these as B's on the concert one, so I think normally I'd put a C flat there. Never mind, you all know that C flat and B are the same thing. You might have been playing some F's and E, F flats and E's earlier.
We had, on the previous one, we had a B in the second bar.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's just my lack of doing my best to spot all these, and they get by. Yeah, so strictly speaking, the flattened fifth of an F chord is a C flat, but we're going to have a B in it. Looks like I've left B's in this one. Honestly thought I'd put them as C flats. But anyway, never mind. It's the same note to our ears. Right, so let's play that first bar. Let's loop that first bar. I think I can have the luxury of going a little bit faster. First bar looped. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. One more time. On to the second bar. Let's loop that one because we've done this rhythm often enough. So da 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 da. 1 and 2 and 2, 3, 4. One more time. Good. On to the third bar, and let's just play that once. So a couple of offbeats to start with there. So just play that once. Yep. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Now loop it. 2, 3, 4. One more time. On to the fourth bar. And again, let's just play that once. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Looped. 2, 3, 4. Last time. Okay, good. Just going to move on to the last line now. So doing well. At least I hope you're doing well. Okay, Joe, I don't know if you're still there, but go and play with your puppy instead. Right. I don't blame you. Okay, and for those of you wondering, we are going to go back to something much more familiar next time. So, right, we're on to the last line. It's a 2-bar pattern here. So we're just going to do those 2 bars. After 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Now let's loop it. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. Da 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 da. realised my last note there was a bit early, but never mind. Okay, third bar along, got a triplet, so that would normally be da 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 da, but we're leaving off that first triplet, so it'll be da 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 da. So it's always a good idea to clap a rhythm before you play it if you're not sure. So let's just play that third bar once. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now loop it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. Okay, if anyone does need to go because it's gone 1:45, then don't feel you need to send your apologies in. But okay, we'll just do that last one. So we've got Semiquavers now. So at this sort of speed, it's going to be 1E and a 2E and a da 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 da, 1E and a 2E and a da 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 da, dee 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 dee. Okay, so if clapping doesn't work, sing it before you play it. Don't do this in concert though. Okay, we're just going to play that fourth bar once. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. And one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's loop that. 2, 3, 4. Last time. Phew. Right, good. Okay, that's enough of those little exercises. But of course, it's always there for you to go back to and have another go at another time. All right, just going to finish now with the chords, and coming up with a chord progression that works with the diminished scale is next to impossible. Not a listenable one, anyway. So what I've done is I've just alternated the A minor, concert A minor, with a 7th chord, dominant 7th chord, which, if you were improvising, works with that scale we've just been playing, the F whole half scale. So very quickly then, A minor, just play an A minor sort of phrase or whatever you like, notes. But over any of the 7th chords, you can play that whole half diminished scale that we've been doing earlier. Now's not the time to ask why, but it's true. It does musically work in a jazz context, of course. Not if you're playing country and western music, and it might even work in modern country and western music. But anyway, let's the rest of you just play chord tones, arpeggios, or strum along, and we'll just do this for a minute, then we'll finish. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. do this one more time. 2, 3, 4. Finish on the root chord, A minor. And there have it, your early morning diminished scale. That's going to wake you up. Okay, good. Let's get that off the screen and say that's it for today. Hopefully you can all come back next week and we'll do something a little bit more straightforward. It doesn't need quite so much explanation.
Oh, that's great.
Anyway, hope you've